planet. That's a good way of identifying people who are definitely not your allies. If people who think there are too many people on the planet, that is not a good thing to think. That's like something with that's got genocidal implications.
Can I just ask you just about...
Wait a minute, that's like eco-fascist conservatives, though. I mean, he's not wrong, but that's mostly conservatives who think that. I don't know where he's coming from. Does he not know his audience here?
Like, what happened to that school of thought where your team was the best team? And the problem maybe for critics would be the arrogance of Americans. Now we have no self-esteem and we want to apologize to everybody. When did that happen, or do you not see it?
I think that emerged out of the 60s as well. I think the universities had a lot to do with that. There's the left-wing tyrannical types are particularly good at manipulating guilt, and that actually works quite well on conservatives because conservatives tend to be more conscientious. And so if you accuse a conservative of moral impropriety on the guilt front, they're likely to take that seriously.
That's so stupid. First of all, no, they're not. Secondly, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't you claim that like liberals always love getting hoisted on their own petard for the same exact moralizing all the time? What the fuck? It's so dumb. No, conservatives just don't like being called out. That's it. Nobody likes being called out. Conservatives just happen to do shit that is easily call-outable.
Notice if you say to someone who's more conscientious, look, you know, you're probably a little more sexist than you could be, and you're probably a little more racist than you could be. The conservative type who's conscientious is going to think, well, you know, I'm really not perfect, and there are ways I could improve, and I could look at myself, and that's fine because you should look at yourself. But the problem with it,
the problem with conservatives is that they're too conscientious. That's what I'm always thinking, dude. Conservatives are always self-criticizing, dude. They're always engaging in self-crit. That's the funniest thing Jordan Peterson might have ever said in the last couple of years, other than the penis-sucking machines in China. It's like saying conservatives are self-reflecting or engaging in the act of introspection is a laughable notion. You're literally at the main place conservatives go to, Fox News, to never engage in any kind of introspection, to basically have all of their cooked up, ridiculous, oftentimes racially charged biases reinforced. It's ridiculous.
2 out of 5 think marriage is an outdated tradition. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you convince young people, as we have, that the planet's going to hell in a handbasket and that there are too many people and that your children do nothing but produce excess carbon dioxide and that you're contributing to the destruction of the planet, you know, by planning to have kids, then the moral kids are going to start wondering about whether or not that's appropriate, and then the irresponsible kids have an extra reason for not doing anything that's vaguely mature. The problem with that is that, well, what the hell's the alternative?
Yeah, the worst aspect of anthropogenic climate change isn't necessarily that we are basically destroying the planet. It's the fact that younger generations are facing an existential threat that they're aware of and therefore don't reproduce. We should stop talking about climate change altogether, says the oil lobbyist, because it's bumming kids out. Love that. Yeah, couples in New York are like, is it ethical to have children? That's why. Dude, no, they're not. That's like one random fucking weirdo that you've seen on Twitter. I'm sorry, the overwhelming majority of people are not making considerations about the ethics of bringing a life onto this planet due to anthropogenic climate change. They're not antinatalist. They're just broke. They're working too much. You need to have both parents work full-time jobs in order to take care of a child. Make this make sense. Jordan Peterson refuses to recognize that capitalism is the main reason why it is unsustainable for new couples to have children. They can't afford it. It's like fucking 40 bills to have a child in a hospital. Who the fuck has that kind of moolah? God damn it. They don't have a house. They can't pay for the fucking medical bills. They can't pay for the child rearing. They don't even have federally mandated paid parental leave. Why the fuck would anybody have a child under those circumstances? It's so stupid.
The unmarried people who stay together make a big mistake, because they never commit formally to each other. And there's a strange idea lurking under that, because to me, the process of living together means something like this. So, you know, if I tell you, well, we'll move in together and see how it goes, because that's what you mean when you say, let's move in together. You're basically saying something like, well, we'll take each other for a test run like we might with a used car, but we're each going to keep to ourselves the possibility of shifting upward if we can find someone better.
Right.
And that's really not much of a
Oh my God, this is like the pseudo-intellectual way of describing hypergamy. It's a deeply cynical and profoundly unserious assessment. Very dumb.
And then the problem with not committing to a long-term relationship is that the bloody thing is going to fail unless you're all in. Because life is very difficult. And with something like, a relationship that's supposed to span the decades, if you're not all in, it's not going to work.
Except for Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell.
Exactly.
When you keep your eye on the
Hollywood
exit.
figured it out.
Yeah, right. Well, if there's any back door at all and any reason to take it, you're going to take it. So, like, if I know I can leave you, then I'm not going to have to discuss anything difficult with you. But if I know if I'm stuck with you for the rest of the life.
Jordan Peterson attacks no-fault divorce. Love that. I mean, this is psychotic. The notion that marriages are supposed to be a trap in perpetuity is luckily an outdated principle. An outdated concept.
Jordan, we've been over the last couple of days talking about the survey that's come out. A lot of people think that kids who are in college are predominantly leaning way to the left.
Yeah.
Now there's this new survey that has come out that has shown that 12th grade high school boys are trending.
That's awesome. Dude, that's crazy. Guys, 12-year-olds are getting reactionary. Oh, joy. Is not necessarily the political analysis I'd be expecting from adults. Oh, 12th grade. Did I misunderstood? Oh, they were talking about fucking 12th graders being conservative and celebrating. They're like, oh, guys, it's sick. 12th graders and kids in high school are conservative now. We're saved. We're good.
So why suddenly are these young men about to enter college or the workforce or whatever becoming more conservative?
Because they've been listening to Joe Rogan.
No, it's Andrew Tate.
Well, that's definitely part of it. I mean,
it's probably Andrew Tate, for the record. It's not Joe Rogan.
there's
You're not kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding at all. There's a countercultural conservative movement that's very, very powerful. And I also think that the young men who are...
They're fucking 12th graders, man. They're children. They're babies. They're baby-brained. They're responding to stimuli. There is no countercultural conservatism. They will find out that their politics resemble their fucking grandparents and their dads shortly thereafter and realize that it was gross. There are plenty of people in here in this community that were also a part of that supposedly counterculture wave of conservatism that wisened up to the reality that it's not counterculture at all, to literally believe the exact same things that your dad believes, to believe the exact same things that you hear on Fox News or on an email chain online. It's just... for the moment, when they're in high school, when they're supposed to be in a relatively diverse learning environment, their teachers are telling them, don't be a fucking asshole. And of course, what's more asshole-ish and standoffish than conservative politics? That's it. That's why they fail to consider that it's not necessarily counterculture, because they're trapped in this like very confined ideological sphere that is supposed to be good for educational learning. Obviously, it's going to have a liberal tint to it. It's very, very stupid.
That's how it looks. You see
On
a
that
lot of the
note-
combat sports more getting into that. The combat sports, you see Zuckerberg and now doing it. A lot of people trying to, all right, if
Yeah, dude, I know. Working out is inherently a conservative value, which is why every fucking fat person on Fox News or at the Oklahoma Walmart, at Tulsa, Oklahoma Walmart, is actually a liberal. Great argument, man. Shut the fuck up. This idea that like working out is inherently reactionary is so stupid. Literally 86% of cops are Republican voters, okay? 86% of police are Republican voters. They're all fucking fat. When has like conservatism been synonymous with like working out and taking care of your own body?
if society's trying to feminize me, I'm going to push back in some other way, and they might be finding the conservative movement for that.
Yeah, society is feminizing me. That's why I'm going to the gym, to become gayer than I ever could have imagined. Working out is gay as fuck. You go to the gym, you look at other dudes' bodies, you start admiring, okay? You become more comfortable, more masculine in many respects, but in a very gay way. That's it.
Well, there's some danger in that too, because you know there are people who are more extreme on the sort of pro-masculine side. Andrew Tate, people like that sort of spring to mind, that become attractive to men that are being like feminized in the manner that you described.
Did you say
I
in
didn't,
jail?
because I have a child.
That's awesome. That was pretty funny.
I think what's happening in the States is that the answer to the problem of sex education in schools is we'll just take our kids out of the damn schools. I think the whole system will collapse. I also think if the Republican governors had a lick of sense, it's